After Sendo lost to Ippo for the Japanese national title, Sendo decided to take a year off to recover. In his comeback match, he fiercely dominated his opponent in only one round. After his win, he decided to only fight Mexican boxers because he's after Ricardo Martinez's title, the title of world champion. He brutally KO'd Jose Ramirez with a nasty smash, beginning the versus Mexican saga for Sendo. Sendo defeated 3 Mexicans and became number 4 in the WBA. He then challenged Jose Nargo, ranked 5 in the WBA. This was a long and drawn out match, but Sendo was able to eventually topple Nargo's hit and run strategy, using his ability to punch in any position. He ends Nargo with the left smash and defeats him in the 8th round. After Ippo lost to Alfredo, Sendo decided that he would get revenge and flew to Mexico to challenge the Mexican boxer. He instead found himself in Ricardo's gym and spontaneously got himself into a spar with the undefeated world champion. During the spar, a miracle occurred. Sendo downed Ricardo. He was the first ever boxer to down Ricardo, and the news of this feat spread like wildfire. Even though it was a spar, it was still a story to be told. Alfredo walked in right as Ricardo was kneeling on the mat. Angrier than ever before, this led to Alfredo Gonzalez to issue a challenge to Sendo. The winner will get the opportunity to fight Ricardo for his title. Months later, the match finally happens. After a long, grueling bout, Sendo defeated Alfredo and began his journey to strip the title from the reigning champ, Ricardo Martinez, the man who has never been downed in a match. A man with a 70-0 record, the greatest boxer to ever do it. After Sendo's match, Ricardo was up next. He annihilated the WBC champion and wanted someone who can show him how strong he really is. Before fighting Sendo, Ricardo decided to fight Wally, an insane talent that comes once every century. He's a wild, instinctual boxer, and he is very similar to Sendo. Ricardo's coach wanted Ricardo to fight Wally to prepare for the monstrous El Tigre from Naniwa. He was taken aback the first few rounds, and it looked like he was disadvantaged, but he eventually caught on to Wally's habits and swiftly took him down. Wally is now blind in one eye and has sadly retired. This is what happens when you face the world champ. Nothing is standing in the way of Sendo and Ricardo facing off in the ring. 2 beasts are ready to pounce any second now. Fast forward to 2 weeks before the match, and Sendo is running in the rain, getting his final road work done for the match with Ricardo. He arrives to his grandmother's shop, but shockingly discovers her passed out on the floor. We then cut to Miyata, and he has been invited to Osaka to spar with Ricardo. The champ touches down in the land of the rising sun. He is ready to defend his title once again. Ricardo immediately goes for a run around the stunning Osaka castle, but unexpectedly runs into Sendo. They stare each other down intensely. Neither are giving in. Ricardo says that Sendo is ready to pounce at any moment, and it's a dead giveaway when you look into his eyes. Sendo clenches his fist, ready to fight at any moment. Sendo runs off exclaiming he has a reason for having to win this match. This will be a life or death fight. Flash forward to Ricardo, sparring at the Otemae gym, and Miyata is standing in silence, waiting for his turn. Ricardo retells his experience with encountering Sendo at Osaka Castle. Sendo was ready. Hurry, subscribe or the Dempsey roll is gonna hit you! Finally, it's Miyata's turn to spar. He puts on his gloves and is fully prepared to fight, but Ricardo doesn't think so. Miyata says he doesn't need headgear since Ricardo isn't wearing any. Miyata thinks to himself that Ricardo is looking down on him. The spar begins with Ricardo throwing out a speedy jab, but Miyata easily dodges it. By the time Ricardo retracts his arm, Miyata is on the other side of the ring. More and more jabs come Miyata's way, but Ricardo can't touch him. Miyata throws a jab, but Ricardo's guard is flawless. More and more jabs come Ricardo's way, but nothing gets through yet again. Miyata's speed is a sight to see here. How is he dancing around the world champ with ease? Besides that last punch, Miyata was flawless. Both boxers break away from each other, and everyone is in awe of what they saw. This is world-class boxing, baby. Miyata somehow increases his speed even more, but Ricardo predicted his path and stuck his fist right in front of Miyata's face. How did he know? As soon as he was about to throw a punch, Ricardo was already there to end it all. He says, strike first, strike at the same time, and then strike after. This is basically my ideal style. Miyata just can't believe it. As he gets hit by Ricardo, Miyata is in disbelief of what Ricardo is capable of. This is what he has been trying to achieve for so long. Miyata walks back to his corner in agony. The peak of the world tastes so bitter. Miyata may be faster and Sendo's punches may be stronger, but the reason why Ricardo is so much better is because he doesn't make wasted movements. The energy he uses for each interaction is perfect. Miyata thinks Ricardo is looking down on him, but his father thinks that Ricardo is always observing and using whatever troubles his opponent the most. Even now, Ricardo is thinking about his plan for Miyata. Miyata plans on bringing out everything. Ricardo is holding back. But before we get to that, we must check in on Sendo's grandmother. While she's resting, Sendo tells her about how he's in really good shape for his match with Ricardo. Even his dog is down in the dumps, endlessly worried about her condition. They need her to come back as soon as possible. We return to the spar with Miyata and Ricardo. It immediately starts off with Ricardo hitting Miyata before he could even throw a punch. He couldn't even set the pace. This isn't just a difference in skill level, it's something completely different. His observing eye is mysterious. What is he thinking? We get a crazy double page spread of Ricardo's mind going a million miles a minute. The highlights from these thoughts are him thinking about the exact distance he needs to be at. What does it mean to be strong, similar to Ippo? Should I end this here? I certainly want to fight him in a real match. And would he even be faster in 8-ounce gloves? And finally, his punches off the back foot are within expectations. There's so much more that he's thinking about, but this is wild. This is why Ricardo is by far the best. He thinks about the match from every angle. Miyata wonders if this is the secret behind his strength, and if he can think and move at the same time. Could this be Ricardo's weakness? Pressure him and give him no time to think? But this is normal for everyone, so what does he do? He's able to adapt and absorb new info at the same time. No wonder he's so strong. It's like he can see the future. This is unfair. Sendo's teacher arrives to the hospital to check on his grandmother. She passed out due to her blood pressure, and the doctor told him that when she wakes up, she doesn't have much longer to live. Sendo wants to pay her back and show her that she raised him right. He will bring the belt back with him and show it to her. He will rewrite history. The press conference is finally here. We don't get the rest of the spar with Miyata and Ricardo, but I'm sure it's for a good reason. Sendo and Ricardo are sitting menacingly. Ricardo is asked, "What's your impression of this country?" He talks about how he found Osaka Castle to be an unparalleled beauty. He is then asked about what he expects from Sendo, but turns the question to El Tigre. Sendo just violently stares down Ricardo and he responds with, "So, it'll be that kind of match." Ricardo and Sendo stare each other down as the press barrage them with flashing cameras. This is a fight that will go down in history whether Ricardo wins or loses. I expect this to be the closest match Ricardo has ever had in the series. The whole town is covered in Ricardo vs Sendo posters, and Ippo is excited for this legendary matchup. The kids are cheering for Sendo, anticipating a victory for the local hero. Even work is letting out the adults early. Sendo may have been silent at the press conference, but that's because he is saving his energy for the match tomorrow. Sendo makes his way to the gym Miyata and Ippo are at and has something he wants to ask the both of them. He asks about Mashiba's condition and then asks Miyata if he can beat Ricardo or not. What are his chances? Miyata says Sendo is the only one that has a chance, and he also states that he has a 1% chance to beat Ricardo, which is very, very low. I don't know if I even go that far, but this doesn't bother Sendo. He's beyond excited to hear that regardless. As long as he wins the first match, then he's fine with that. This gives him the energy to spar, but this is the day before the match. What is wrong with him? Miyata had us in the first half, not gonna lie. He then follows up with Sendo can only spar for one round, or he'll risk injury. Both world-class boxers step into the ring, but Ippo's heart isn't having it at all. He even calls out Miyata's hypocrisy, but he thinks to himself, it isn't my title fight, so I guess he was just talking about himself in that situation. On the other side of the ring, Sendo can't help but let out his fire via boxing. The 1% chance is fueling his hype. Sendo wasted no time and threw a full power straight in a no-touch spar. He's just breaking every rule at this rate. Ippo is shocked that he isn't pulling his punches. Ippo is able to easily dodge everything Sendo threw at him. Miyata notes that Ippo is using elite level pivoting, and he never did this when he was active. By using his left leg as a pivot, he's able to dodge punches without creating unnecessary distance. This would let him quickly shift onto the attack. Ippo's fundamentals are on a whole other level at this point in the story. Hopefully he comes back in Jobs Yamai the reigning featherweight champion. Sendo fools Ippo with a feint, and a smash lifts Ippo off the ground. The follow-up pushes Ippo even further, making him lose balance. Ippo is purposely not fighting back, and is using his pristine defense to fend off Sendo's aggression. Ippo doesn't want to accidentally injure the challenger. What will Ippo do to stop Sendo? Sendo's powerful strikes continue to slowly deteriorate Ippo's guard, and if this continues, Ippo may reflexively retaliate. A swift barrage is coming Ippo's way, and all he can think about is how Sendo really is an idiot. He approaches Sendo and clinches with all his might. Sendo is beyond angry and wants him to get off of him, but Ippo is adamant that he'll never let go. Sendo thinks it'll be easy to throw him off, but he hasn't realized that Ippo is built different now. Sendo imagines Ippo as an immovable boulder. He is too heavy for Sendo. He's pushing and pulling, but Ippo won't move an inch. Ippo is sweating profusely, refusing to move. He wants the spar to end, here and now. Ippo's feet are rooted in the ground, and Sendo doesn't understand what's going on. Sendo goes all out, but he fails to do anything. What is Ippo really made of? His foundations have been built up immensely. What's crazy is that Miyata wasn't even timing the round, but they decide to end the spar anyways. Sendo's phone has been blowing up, so he leaves abruptly and wants them to watch the match tomorrow. He is going to be the one to take down a legend. Ippo's arms are still asleep from blocking his punches and is happy to find out that if he landed one of those, he might actually win. Miyata then points out to Ippo that Sendo was using his anti-Ricardo strategy. Ippo can't believe it. Date fought Ricardo with intelligence and feeling, while Wally used his instincts to pressure him from all angles. Even then, Ricardo stomped both of them. But there were times where gaps in Ricardo's boxing were revealed. A champion's true nature can only be revealed when enough people challenged him. Someone peels off one layer, and then the next peels off the other. This lets the successors to pick apart what his weaknesses are. Each attempt passes on new info. Ippo hopes Sendo will properly receive the baton and end Ricardo's streak once and for all. We'll find out tomorrow if this is the case. Miyata exclaims that undefeated doesn't mean invincible. He may have never lost, but that doesn't make him scarier. Sendo returns to the hospital and thinks to himself that she can't go just yet. He has to bring back the belt to her first. He arrives to the room, and his old teacher tells him that his grandmother has something to say to him. It's almost up for me. I want to see it. She doesn't want to see the belt. She wants to see this while she's still alive. Her great-grandchild's face. So she wants to see Sendo's kids. Sendo goes for a playful karate chop, but is stopped by his old teacher. Yes, she doesn't have a name yet for some reason. Grandmother points at the teacher and tells Sendo that they're perfect for each other. Sendo will come back tomorrow with the belt in his hands. He will proudly show it to her grandmother. She fell back asleep, and he's more determined than ever to defeat Ricardo. Sendo leaves the hospital and can't help but only think about the one who raised him. He will win not only for himself, but for her, to show that he is the strong man she raised. We go back to Ricardo's camp and they discuss how they view the match versus Sendo. Nargo tells them that Sendo has the most destructive power in the featherweight division, even more than Ricardo. This is coming from Ricardo's sparring partner and someone who fought Sendo. The down that Ricardo took from Sendo was no accident. That's exactly why he picked Sendo as his opponent. Back then, he told his coach, Bill, that he was sure he dodged Sendo's punch. After the fact, Sendo broke his pinky bone. Ricardo was downed by a damned pinky. Sendo used an open hand punch, so the glove was puffed out more than usual. A simple graze managed to knock Ricardo off balance. That is insane. His wildness means he will do anything to take his opponent down. His match before with Wally was a countermeasure against such wildness. Tomorrow's match will use everything he has learned thus far. At this very moment, Ricardo is running through the match from beginning to end, all in his own mind. But we switch to Ricardo's POV, and he really can't see anything. He can't predict what Sendo will do once the bell rings. This is the first time this has ever happened to him. Ricardo is stoked to be fighting Sendo. All Sendo can think about is how he just needs to hit him. Simple as that. Sendo and Ricardo are destined to have the greatest world title match in history. This may be the best boxing match we have ever seen in Hajime no Ippo so far. Today is the day the violent clash of Ricardo Martinez and Sendo Takeshi. Sendo fans gather around chanting that he will become the world champion. Ippo has finally arrived to the arena, wanting to see Sendo take Ricardo down. The stadium is packed. Osaka is here to cheer on the Tiger. Ippo, Miyata, and the reporter Mari make their way to their seats. Miyata thinks that Ippo won't have time to drink all the water he brought since the match could be over in a flash, but Ippo disagrees. He thinks it'll be a long, drawn-out match. Ippo asks what Miyata meant when Sendo was doing his anti-Ricardo strategy in their spar yesterday. Sendo pulled his punch mid-swing, but it wasn't a feint. It was just a whim, his instinct. When he threw it out, he felt it wouldn't land, so he switched it up, and that let his left land. But since you'll never know what he'll do, the accuracy of his whims are absurdly high. You just can't read Sendo in those situations. When Miyata sparred with Sendo, he fought strategically and used his head, which is why it was easy to beat him. When Miyata sparred Ricardo though, it felt hopeless. Although with his grandmother being in poor health, instead of using his head, he decided to return to his original wildness. The difference between Wally and Sendo is night and day. Wally is a primate and Sendo is a fierce carnivore. The match will begin any minute now. Ricardo will do the same as always and has worked out so far. Sendo's tiger emerges from the shadows. He is thinking of his grandmother and his determination to bring back the belt. He will become #1 in the world. This is Sendo Takeshi's time to shine. Sendo emerges from the blue corner, the challenger who is aiming to change the course of history. The crowd continuously cheers on Sendo. Thunderous cheers echo throughout the ring. Ippo and Miyata commend his entrance. All focus and pure instinct is racing through his mind. Ricardo emerges from the red corner, wearing a poncho and a sombrero, while his seconds hold the belt and the Mexican flag. He's looking clean as ever. Their entrances have wrapped up, the anthems have been played, and now all that's left is the gong. Their anticipation is rising to the limit. Concentration is at its peak. The gong rings. Sendo versus Ricardo begins. Date thinks that since Ricardo plays defensively to figure out his opponents, Sendo should secure a point advantage while Ricardo is analyzing the challenger's tendencies. If he's able to take it to a punching match, it'll be interesting. Takamura rebuttals and says Sendo isn't thinking about points at all. He'll go for it no matter what. Sendo pounces and his coach expects Ricardo to be defensive and scope out Sendo. But they were wrong. Ricardo launches a heavy jab that sends Sendo flying back. He will not let Sendo have his way. To everyone's disbelief, Ricardo made the first move. He continues his assault, and Sendo is now on the defensive. That didn't faze him at all. Sendo launches a smash right away. Ricardo looks as calm as expected, but maybe he didn't expect his fist to be shaking after one smash. Ricardo doesn't want Sendo to dictate the pace. That's the reason why he's on the offensive. A fast-paced punch-out in front of our very eyes. No one in the crowd, nor the readers, expected this to happen. Honestly, I thought the fight would be business as usual with Ricardo blocking and weaving through Sendo's attacks, but this makes more sense. One wrong move can get you KO'd, so you have to do everything you can to stop Sendo from endlessly launching powerful punches. Ippo notes how Ricardo's punches are stronger than usual. Miyata comes to the conclusion that Ricardo doesn't want Sendo to do what he wants. This is going to be the overall theme of the match. Ricardo gains the advantage, with Sendo taking a precise left. But Sendo returns with a nasty punch that could have knocked out Ricardo if it cleanly landed. A punch out is exactly what the Tiger is looking for. He follows with another heavy punch that sends Ricardo sliding across the ring. Sendo begins to chase him down, but Ricardo pins Sendo in place with his powerful lefts. Date is in awe of what Ricardo is doing. This is unheard of for the world champion. No one saw this coming. Even Takamura is at a loss for words, but he claims that he understands. Ricardo's on the offensive to show the difference between them, but Date disagrees. Ricardo isn't someone who acts like that. There has to be a reason for him to do this, even if he risks depleting his stamina. Takamura is coming from his own experiences as a boxer instead of trying to analyze Ricardo's perspective. He's a completely different boxer, and how he approaches the sport just isn't the same. Both world champs have different boxing philosophies. Then Date and Takamura go back and forth. Date claims that you must have a good head on your shoulders if you want to use your fists, but we all know Takamura is more instinctual. He wouldn't get it. The back and forth got Takamura annoyed. He wants Date out of here. Back to the match though. Sendo charges up a smash and will take as many punches as possible. As long as he lands one, it doesn't matter. These knuckles of mine really hurt, you know. A smash is on its way, and Ricardo prepares for the powerful strike, but even then, it launches him into the air. The blow explodes on his guard. No way he comes out unharmed. His arms are throbbing like no other. If he takes more of those, they may go numb. Ricardo thinks to himself how Nargo warned him of the smash's power. Trying to match up with this after seeing it only once would be too reckless. One wrong move means he will lose. Sendo sends a strong straight and then a hook, but Ricardo easily dodges them all. As Sendo was going to follow up, Ricardo's left stops him in his tracks. Sendo did spin his neck to reduce the damage though, so he looks back like nothing happened. Sendo returns fire immediately and launches another punch, but Ricardo's jab hits first and Sendo's was blocked. This is insane, as Ricardo's left is the only thing landing cleanly. He's up on points. He's so far up on the scoreboard, but even though it's just a left is all boxers need to secure a KO. Even so, Sendo is fighting back, as if Ricardo's punches aren't hurting him at all. He's able to suppress the damage with his pristine defense and overbearing offense. Unless Ricardo can lock down Sendo, the heavy punches will land eventually. Takamura is then asked what he thinks, and his elite analysis is what surprises everyone. Rare Takamura wisdom has just dropped, and he mews as he repeats the same exact thing Dante said and takes it as his own. He definitely did that on purpose. You could see it in his face. Those are the latest revelations of the Ricardo versus Sendo match so far. You are now up to date on the Hajime no Ippo manga. Please like the video if you haven't already and become a member for only $1. You'll gain access to my weekly podcast where I talk Ippo, the latest chapters, and much more. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Hurry, subscribe or the Dempsey roll is gonna hit you.